Springtime in Ohio. It can be dry and hot like we saw last spring. Also, we'll typically get many spring thunderstorms. Sometimes the spring storms bring severe weather and even tornadoes. Pretty typical around here from the shores of Lake Erie down to the Ohio River is that there's a decent amount of variation throughout the season. The Neoweather.com official spring forecast will inform you all about what kind of weather to expect until summer kicks off in late June.
As April starts here in Ohio, we still have some of this stuff around, ice. Now let's take a look at those spring temperatures to see how soon we're going to melt the ice.
Temperatures the first half of the month of April. This includes what we've previously seen, and if you've glanced at any of our 7-day forecasts, you can see that there's a nice warming trend through the first half of this week. But will that stay around? Well, unfortunately, no. If you like the warm weather, we are expecting generally below average temperatures for the northern half of the state through the middle of April. But the southern half, slightly below average, or at least the southern third of the state. As we go through the middle of April and on, there's going to be several above average temperature days. That means it'll be great to take your dog or your kids for a walk in the park. Now, what about temperatures as we go through the second half of April? Well, a general warming trend will happen, and that means you can expect slightly above average temperatures throughout the whole state of Ohio the second half of April as we get into May. Now we're going to talk about if we're going to expect a lot of cloud cover or some decent amount of sunshine to get these buds a-blooming into nice green, lush leaves by the time May arrives. There will be a general mix of cloudy and sunny days throughout the spring, so there should be no trouble getting leaves on the trees by the middle of the month, and then especially towards the end of the month. Now, will April showers bring May flowers? Let's take a look at how much rain we expect for the month. Precipitation through the first half of April is generally looking to be below average from Cleveland to Lima into Columbus and also Youngstown. But Toledo and points off towards the west and even Cincinnati and other areas of southwestern Ohio will see a general little trend of average to even slightly above average amounts of precipitation across the area. How about the second half of April in terms of the rainfall department? Well, generally there will be an increase to around average for the whole state as we go through the second half of April. If you're looking forward to that summertime warm-up before it's officially summer, well, good news for you. May, we do expect the warmer air to really arrive and get pumped in from the south, so above average temperatures for the month of May. The warmer than average May air will also accompany more thunderstorms, and this means above average amounts of precipitation in the form of rain and thunderstorms throughout May. Now, will this mean more severe weather? Find out in just a few moments as we break down our severe weather chances for this spring. How are temperatures shaping up for June, you may ask? Well, the Neoweather.com team is going with near average temperatures across Ohio. No huge rampant warm-ups like we saw last year, and not too many cool spells as well. It'll be a nice mix of near average temperatures. As we get closer to June, of course, we'll detail if we expect maybe a little bit above average or a little bit below. But right now, I would count on near normal temperature conditions. What about the precipitation category? Is this going to shock you? Are we going to be in a drought? Are we going to see any flooding? Well, I think slightly above average precipitation will be the general rule. With an active storm track, you can expect plenty of rounds of thunderstorms to move through the area. But this does not mean it will be wet all the time or anything like that. There'll still be some stretches of dry weather across Ohio, but overall, slightly above average amounts of rain through the month of June until we hit the start of summer there towards the last 10 days or so of the month. Now, what about our severe weather setup for all of spring? As we go through April and start into May, we're going to see this high pressure setup in the northern and even the southern middle of the plains area across from Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, even Missouri. Now, this is going to form a big dome of drier than normal air. It's known as a heat dome. And this is not where storms normally like to go through. So traditional tornado alley I think is going to push a little bit east. That's where the severe weather is going to be. So here comes this high pressure. It's going to provoke a northern jet stream across the Great Lakes, and the low pressure systems will ride rampant upon there, and that's where we're going to see this above average severe weather pattern really take hold and shape up across Ohio, most of Ohio, including Illinois and Indiana, and then down into Kentucky, the Tennessee Valley, and all the way down in towards the Gulf Coast. So that's where we look to see an above average corridor of severe weather. If you're looking for what month is the best chance to see that, May. May will be generally active in terms of severe weather across most of Ohio. June will be probably slightly above average, and then this current month in April, we're not going to see a ton of thunderstorm activity, but some will get going through the end of the month, but still I would say below average severe thunderstorm activity through April, above average severe thunderstorm activity definitely through May, and then slightly above average through June. So we could see damaging winds, hail, and even some tornadoes as we go through this year. Elevated risk there for severe weather chances. So there you have it. Spring started out cool, but by the time May comes around, we expect warmer weather to push into the area. With an above average number of severe weather events expected this year, make sure to stick to Neoweather.com for the latest source of weather information all across the Buckeye State.